Go. Just in time for Barb.
Oh, Barb's here now.
Yay. Yay. Hi, Barb. And see, Gary, you're new. My name is Kay.
I can see that.
Um,
You got your name right
yeah.
there.
And I'm John Marie.
Pearson.
Yep.
Yep.
And you can
John
see my
Marie's
name.
our,
You can see my name
yep.
too, can't you?
Yep.
Sure can, Gary.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can see Barb's. Hi, Barb.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm
2019 Mac Mini. That's Gail.
She likes to hide behind that name.
uh, doing a good job.
So let's see. Um, I volunteer for IGS as the publications chair, and John Marie is, hi, Barb. John Marie is our social media editor. So she's the one who handles Facebook, Instagram, X,
Blue Sky.
Blue
You,
Sky, TikTok.
we aren't on TikTok yet, but we need
Yeah,
to. We need to make that move.
we're going to do our Facebook Lives. We're going to switch over to YouTube Live in
And we've
January.
changed the name.
Yes. And then we'll share, if you can't meet us on YouTube Live, we'll share the link to the recording on Facebook. Since the Facebook Lives only stay there for 30 days, I forgot 1 month to download the recording and it went away because I download it and then upload it to YouTube. So we thought, maybe if we turn this around.
No, I can go to YouTube anytime and see what happened.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
And what's the
Yep.
name of the site?
That
Uh,
is, uh, you
what do we
type
have it
in you,
under?
let's see, youtube.com
Yeah, right.
and then the forward slash
Okay.
and then the @ sign
Okay.
and then it's IND, the first letters of Indiana.
Is that capitalized or does it make a difference?
That
Doesn't
doesn't
make a
matter.
difference.
Okay.
Yep. And then GEN, so the first three letters of
Genealogy. Yeah.
Yep.
genealogy. Yep. And SOC, first three of society.
Oh, no dots in there. Just add Indian Society.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep, in Gen Sock.
And you'll see it labeled, it's Hoosier Roots Live. That's what we're calling the channel now.
Oh, okay.
But all of our past presentations from Facebook are on there.
Yep, there's some good ones out there.
I
That's
presume they're all
So,
good.
so this month, let me see here. I just want to remind everyone that there's the IGS Genealogy Writing Award. It's a little too late for 2025, so it's early to start getting ready for 2026. So, um, the award that we give it out in April every year. So this coming April will be for 2025. But you have all of pretty much from now through the end of November to work on submitting an article for consideration for the 2026 award.
I just saw in the quarterly magazine about the topics for 2026, and I'm looking at submitting one for Q1 of, yep.
Oh, about the women's history?
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. A few years ago, I'd actually had submitted it back, or didn't submit it. I put an idea out there with when Rachel Popma was
Mhm.
the editor, and I just never followed through. And so when I saw that come up again, uh, one of my great aunts was one of the first police women in Indianapolis.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow. That'd make a
Yeah.
great story.
Right.
Mhm.
And and Rachel at the time was very supportive, but I don't know, it was 2018, so it was before the pandemic, so I have no excuse. But I just feel like I have even more information now, so I'm gonna really try to get that together and get it submitted in time.
Terrific.
Great.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful goal. I need your motivation.
Yeah, we all do.
We all need motivation.
We need to motivate each other.
Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that because
Yeah.
that helps.
Well,
Definitely.
I've written blog posts about my great aunt Sadie.
Mhm.
She was, even though she passed away before I was born, it's amazing how people's stories can live on in families, and her oral history in our family, because she was a policewoman. People love to tell stories about her breaking up craps games and chasing down shoplifters. And, I mean, this is, just sort of crazy stuff. And yeah, so, bigger than life person, even though she was only 5'2".
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness. Let me see here. Um, okay, so Gail shared that she's still struggling with Pauline's story. And yep, I remember that one.
Yeah, I need to read the latest update.
Mhm.
I think you updated it, Gail, with a newer version. I remember.
So she's using a decades timeline. So that's nice. That's always helpful. Yes, because Pauline's story, there's some twists and turns.
Yeah.
Let's see. And she said hi to Gary. She's using an
I'm
older
back.
Mac. And is anyone planning to participate in May when the NGS conference comes to Fort Wayne?
Yep, I'll be there.
I plan on it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for registration to open. They said beginning of December, and I keep checking. I'm like, nope, not yet.
Oh, and she shared, Barb, your women's history story about your Aunt Sadie sounds wonderful. Please share some of your excerpts with us on the Facebook page.
Well, you know what? I'll put up links to a couple of the blog posts I've written about her.
Okay, that'd be great.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. Oh, yes, Pauline was the circus
Oh, yeah,
owner
the
manager.
circus manager. Yep.
Oh. Yes, that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me
And
see.
another great aunt who lives with all of us because of the crazy stories that we hear, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It looks like we're gonna have some great stories for the women's
Yeah.
edition.
That's awesome. I know I had an aunt, I mean, she was my uh just my plain aunt. She wasn't a great aunt, but she was great. She was she was my mentor, my genealogical mentor. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. She's the one who pushed me. And I kind of wish she was still around because she would continue keep motivating me and oh,
That would
but
make a
yeah.
great story, though, too. How she motivated you into genealogy.
There was at one, she and I were the only ones who really were interested in our family history, so we would talk all the time about it. And one time she said, I said, well, I'm looking at, like, I forget, the spouse of this ancestor. And she said, oh no, just stay on the direct line. And that's the only time I've ever disagreed with her. because I love the collateral lines, and she was all about the direct. So,
I mean, I feel like the collateral lines, they shaped our ancestors.
mhm.
You know, they
So
played a
so
part
many
in it.
stories. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And
Yeah.
yeah. So, but that was her thing. So, and
Yeah.
so I guess just makes me my own genealogist, But of course she did research before the internet. So, staying on your direct line is, yeah, it could get pretty hairy out there with the collaterals even today
You
with
can get lost down that rabbit hole.
oh yeah. Oh goodness.
When I think about like my grandmother doing her DAR before the internet, where, it wasn't enough to go to the library. She had to travel to places to
Mhm.
go to, a city hall, a county office. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it's astounding, the
Mhm.
lengths that she went to just to join the DAR. And now I feel like, I could, that's not what drives me.
Yeah.
And yet that's what got me interested in it. But yeah. Hmm.
Mhm. At the museum where I work, we have family files, and we've been collecting items since at least 1902. And
Wow.
sometimes I pull these family files, and there's written communication from people who, before the internet, would write to our historical society. And I mean, letters.
Where are you?
Henry County, Indiana, Newcastle.
In Newcastle, okay.
Yep. And they would write everything out about their family, what they were looking for, and then our historical society would usually type a response back, but we saved all that correspondence. So I run into that quite often, the handwritten letters.
Yeah, I was going through,
Mhm.
I went to the county library next over the Rowan County in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, and I was going through their family files, and it's interesting to see some of those letters that they sent in because every so often there'd be like some stories or something that they would share that I wouldn't have been able to find
Mhm.
without reading through those letters. So I thought it was interesting that they kept those correspondences.
Mhm.
The
This
only
would be a
problem
great
is,
digitize these things. This would be a great project for the digitizing grants.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What
No, go
I
ahead,
mean,
Gary.
I'm the
Oh,
same way. I have found things in old letters that have been digitized. I found a letter on fold 3 from a 3 times great grandmother that she wrote to President Cleveland,
oh my.
begging for a widow's pension
Oh
for
my.
her husband, who she swore fought in the War of 1812.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
wow.
And I've never been able to prove that he did. So I suspect he didn't, just like the Veterans Affairs at the time said. But finding that letter was priceless. The digitite written in pencil, horrible grammar, just one long sentence.
Oh
It was
wow.
astounding.
Hmm.
So I would love to
Oh.
see those libraries get that grant to digitize those letters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
the only problem you have with a letter is you don't have any proof.
Yeah, any source.
Mhm.
It's the idea of
Yeah.
whoever. Yeah. Yeah, there's just
Well, we got a lot of wild stories going on in my family that I know are not, I don't know, but I don't think are true. But, and somebody from somebody wrote this, and therefore it carries a lot of weight. But
yeah.
Mhm.
It always pushes me to go searching the newspaper. I'm
Yeah.
like, did they? That was the
Yeah.
Facebook back then. I'm like, is there any clues in there?
Yeah. If it's a really wild story,
Yeah.
You'd think my first thought is it'd be in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they shared all that.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
needed to fill their newspaper. So,
Mhm.
I found like in Terre Haute, there was articles that said, oh, the stoners went and visited like so and so in this town, or they had guests come in, and it's like,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's
you know,
very
Yep.
typical. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. I've had people come into the historical society and I'll pull the family files that they need and they'll be flipping through and I've heard them say, "Oh, well, that's my great uncle so and so wrote this." And here's his letter to you. I so I'm for real when, I tell people they come in, I said 100 years from now, someone might be looking for this. They might want to see your handwriting. And because this happens not every day, but several times a year.
Well, it's dying out with things that you could see the person's handwriting in today's technology. You hardly
Mhm.
ever sign anything. I mean, we don't do checks anymore. We debit. It's like the handwriting, any documents with handwriting's going away. It's all typed almost. So
Mhm.
it's interesting to see those letters like handwritten
Yeah.
or the printer
Oh,
paper too. The printer paper that it was printed on the old
mhm.
time where you had to feed it through the little
Like the
thing.
dots,
Yep.
the little holes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I can't believe it. That I'm the age that I can think, wow, those were the days. I remember a time before the internet.
Well,
I can remember.
my
Yeah.
grandson the other day, he was like, he wanted a piece of paper, and my daughter said, I don't have any paper. I got to go buy some. He's like, well, don't you just print it off the printer? It's like, that's not how it works, even though it spits it out.
It's kind of a good idea, though, I
Yeah.
guess. Well,
And the supply of paper just comes out of the
endless supply.
printer.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Oh no. Oh, I can remember as a kid thinking, talking to my friends on a corded phone, thinking it'd be so cool just to take the phone with me. And here we are, and I
We
just
are.
want to get away from
Yep.
it. I'm tethered to it. But yeah, I can remember thinking,
Or the math teacher telling us, like, you're not going to always have a calculator. Like, that was wrong information.
oh golly. Oh, let me see here. Let's see. Gail, let's see. Yes, Gail said, I have to force myself to get back to the direct line occasionally, since she loves going down those rabbit holes. She's working on her husband's Welsh great-grandfather's migration story to Northwest Ohio, and she came across vague references to published Welsh migration narratives and even collections of letters between migrants in Ohio and family and friends in Wales. It turns out she was able to borrow a few through Purdue University, Fort Wayne, Home Key Library's document delivery service.
Hmm.
Even when the lending library only allowed me to keep the published source for 1 week, I was thrilled to have those sources in my hands. That's so cool.
Yeah.
A couple were published literally as bound typewritten pages.
So, Gail, how many
Wow.
stories are you working on? I think you're outdoing us all. Who knows?
That's
you're
great.
an inspiration to us. So we need to get on it. 2026.
I will share some the last time we talked, I know we let me there we go. Um we Gary, sometimes we go off on the AI path.
Uh-huh.
And I think the last time we talked, we were talking about what are called flip books. Is is anyone here that talked about making the flip? Was it you, Barb?
Yes.
Yes.
If you would turn on your screen share, I might be able
Uh-huh.
to share the one I was telling you about. It's here again, just another astounding thing that we have through technology.
Let's
I,
see. I'm just going to make you the host.
oh,
There you go.
okay. Well, let's see if I can get into chat GPT and get there
So,
to my.
since you're the host, you're in charge now.
Okay.
So-
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm trying to
Just kidding.
find it. Where is it? Where is that one I did? Projects, maybe. Ooh, nope. Okay, where do I find that in Chat GPT, the one I did?
You
Okay,
sound like me now.
I know. Sorry.
I gotta find how to organize my chats.
Oh my gosh.
Well, after that discussion, I went out and because I had talked about my grandfather writing that thing, that his memories from 1933, and I took it, I made a PDF, and I tried to do the flip book with it,
Uh-huh.
but I'll show you what I
Okay.
did come up with.
This is what Chat GPT. So my father, who passed away in 2004, was a researcher and he was very into computers. And he was writing blog posts before blogs were a thing. And he would write stories about his childhood. And one of them was about he grew up in Irvington neighborhood of Indianapolis on the east side, if you're familiar with it. And his father died when he was a mere child. And, uh, so he was just a little boy in a all woman, including his aunt, the policewoman, household. And so these were his stories. And so he would write about them on his website. And this was one of them, Bob's Tire Jump. And I just took the words he'd written and put it into Chat GPT and said, make a child storybook out of this set in the 1930s Depression era using classic images. And this is what they gave, Bob's Tire Jump. I mean, isn't this amazing? It
That is
completely
great.
took,
This,
look at these characters, this is him as a
that kind of
child.
looks like Irvington.
Yeah, why not? Right? They had just an old shed out in their backyard, and he found these old tires and took them up on the roof and was throwing them off, and great, it was just a joyful thing for a child to do.
Yeah.
And you can see how it's turned this into a whole little storybook. The junk man came along and offered him money for the tires, but it wasn't enough. So he'd rather play with the tires than sell them to the junk man.
Oh,
I mean, it's just crazy.
that's so cool.
Well, and you can do that on Chat GPT. If you've got a little narrative, I mean, this was only a couple hundred words. I mean, I still maintain his website to this day.
Oh, neat.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and all this stuff, and just taking that one story and seeing what it would do. That was just a first pass. That was not me editing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you
Oh
tell it
my.
like how many pages you wanted or the
No,
format?
it seemed to have a default. It only
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
do like 10 pages, which for
Yeah, for
yeah,
a
yeah,
kid's book. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Let me see. So I tried to do that um with that story of my grandfather's.
Hmm.
Let me see. Um, see if I can. Oh, it was the story was too long, like for a storybook, for
Huh.
a little short story. Let me see. See if I can find. So I heard about this. Can you guys see that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Um, it's called hazing. And the first time I heard someone say that, I thought they were saying hazing. Like, and I finally found it. So I have just a free subscription thing to play around with.
I've
So,
never
but
even heard of this website.
Me neither.
I heard about it just around the time of a couple months ago. And so I did take his story, I scanned it, made it a PDF, and put it into Gemini, Google Gemini, and it did come up with this uh, uh,
Oh, yeah.
uh, cover.
Wow.
I had to tweak it a little to make it like my
Well, yeah.
hometown.
Right. The
Yeah.
wires aren't running the right way for the.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's picking up its
Yeah,
power.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it came up with the title for this because his title was A Dream. And so the whole story is like he's dreaming about how he was 18 in 1933 and he wrote this when he was 68. So what I wanted to do was take his story and add old pictures from around that time period.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But AI did create this cover for me. And then that's him right there.
Huh.
Oh, did you hear that? You can't. Oh, I probably have to share the sound. It makes it sound like
Whoosh,
you're
whoosh.
yeah,
Turning the
like
page.
you're turning the page. So that's him when he graduated in 33.
Uh-huh.
And the honeybee was the interurban. And these are just scenes from downtown Newcastle. And like he mentions this furniture store, and those are railroad guys. And he mentioned in his dream, he actually has a flashback. So, and it's to this building that his father worked at as a telegrapher. And that's where
Oh, sure.
Honeybee and Brass Key come in. I mean, I would have never thought of that. So the whole point of his story is he worked at a theater and he was running around downtown. I still need to add a picture of the theater where he worked. I just haven't got to that. But all these, like this store right here, he mentioned it. It's like an old grocery store. I think it said fresh oysters up there on one of those signs, and I just can't even imagine how. Because we're so landlocked over here. Oysters. And see, I need to get some pictures back here. But
They were probably freshwater oysters.
Yeah.
oh, a
Now, so if
delicacy.
They also ate eels, freshwater
Yeah.
eels.
Oh. I don't know if you can see that. That's J.C. Penney.
Oh, yeah.
And this building here has a widow's peak. It's still standing.
Now, so when it says like you can share that story, now will they have to come into Hazen to be able to
Um,
look at it, or how does that work?
it looks like it just creates a link.
Okay,
It
so it
looks
just
like you can download it though.
yeah, I noticed
Yeah.
that, or share it.
Yeah,
Okay.
on your socials, or I could probably take this and put it on my website.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
blog.
So, so yeah, after our discussion last time, I was intrigued, and I did spend quite a bit of time working with AI to get uh, to make that cover. And then I was like, well, I can't add, it says you can add pictures, but it it was hallucinating a lot. Even when I would ask it, I would give it exact instructions and it would
Yeah.
still. So finally I just said the cover's good enough. I'm gonna find this hazing thing and see
But
what I can do.
it makes me think, would this maybe be an interesting quarterly where instead of us submitting our stories, we submit our ancestors' stories? I mean, there's not a lot of footnotes, there's not a lot of sources, but what a great little story that is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I just think it would
Yeah.
be interesting instead of hearing our words, hearing theirs.
Yeah.
When I found that, I didn't know about it until after he had passed.
Oh,
So, and I went through and he drops names and business names um because he had to run that film to the interurban to get it to the next town before their theater showed it. And so I guess he just dropped it off and then just tr this is his story, trotted around town, just see what was
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
But yeah, that one picture where it had like a vaudeville theater
Mhm.
going into the basement, his father, who was the telegrapher, was also a vaudeville actor. So, and I have a newspaper picture of him in blackface. I, I was just like,
That's
I was like,
easy.
wow.
Yeah.
So,
That was a thing,
yeah,
Yeah, it was.
even in Newcastle.
yep. He worked for the the railroad at
Mhm.
that point, and uh, there's one line in his little story where he's talking about the railroad, uh, L E and W. I forget what it stands for now. Lake Erie and Wabash,
Okay.
and
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
and he, I guess, and this was probably true. He put in parentheses or leave early and walk is what they called it. So whenever I have someone come in who's railroad centric, I tell them about the L E and W. A funny joke. But yeah, oh boy. Some of that stuff that's great memories but I double checked what he wrote in our city directories and he was about 92% correct. So I was like, wow, that's all these store names and the people who ran them and I could find them on the Sanborn maps.
Yeah, yeah, that's always fun.
So I've always wanted to, and he was a man who would have loved the internet. Oh my gosh, he would
Right?
have loved the internet. So I thought I'd modernize his story a little bit because it's just a little pamphlet kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yep, it's all his words.
Yeah, I've got my paternal grandfather. I never got to meet him. But he wrote his memoir. And then so I've got like tons of stories in there from, when he grew up in Terre Haute and everything. And so I want to start like piecing him together. Because like one story he was trying to get the mailman to mail a marble to this girl that he liked in his class, and the mailman wouldn't take the marble in the but there's like a bunch of different stories in there. So I would love to like make the books for my grandkids to be able to hear the stories. And the only thing I hated was that he ended his memoir that said, everybody else knows the rest. And I'm like, I don't.
But see, I think there's a bunch of members in the society that probably have these things. I would love to read all of those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Yep.
Well, that's
It's
one
a
of my
I
goals for
firsthand account.
2026.
It's a firsthand account. We don't
Yeah.
need sources. It's a firsthand account.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's see, Gail. I don't know if you saw her chat message. Um, she said you asked about stories in progress, so I'll share this one. Apologies if you've seen it before. My late father-in-law was in the Special Engineering Detachment, SED, at Oak Ridge during the Manhattan Project.
Oh.
He never spoke about it with his two sons, but eventually participated in the late Senator Richard Senator
And
Lugar.
mayor. He was also the mayor
Okay. I
when I
don't know
was a
if
kid.
well, and one way I pronounce it, it seems right, and then the other way seems right. Richard
Like me
Lugar.
with Hoosiers.
Indiana Veterans History Project. Once I convinced the National Archives to release his story to me after his 2011 death, I transcribed it and shared it
Oh, wow.
at the Oral History Association conference. Now I'm trying to get a story published as an America 250 article. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Neat. That's awesome.
Huh?
Oh, put little hearts out there.
Yeah.
John Marie, did you see this one?
No.
Your dad's, everybody knows the rest, is precisely why I discourage folks from interviewing their own family. Swap with someone else and interview each other's relative.
That's a
My
good
own,
idea.
my own parents, aunt, and uncle did exactly that to me. But you already know that. Yeah.
But
I've
like
had my, yeah.
every person has a different perspective,
Yeah.
and it's like you
Mhm.
can like because when I talked to my mom about her family, there were 5 siblings. Well, my mom and then 4 other siblings, and I can ask about a specific ancestor, like my great grandma or that, and my one aunt says, "Oh, she was always so mean." And my mom's like, "I adored her. She was the sweetest lady." And it's like it's crazy how you can get different perspectives from people.
Mhm. Or like different people remember the same thing differently.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
interesting you mentioned the word mean, though, because I used to hear this story where my great grandfather would talk about his mother being mean. And then years later, when I was in touch with a second cousin who shared this same ancestor, she told me she was tight-fisted. And I now realize I think that's what he was talking about. That
Mm.
it
Yeah.
wasn't that she was mean the way we might think, like mean. She didn't loan him money when he needed it.
That's
Mm.
Yeah.
mean.
Yes.
Yeah, it is all about the perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right?
Or the different time era.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've thought about writing that for a blog post too, that,
Mm.
you know, it, we view things in a different way. I mean, we can't hold them to
Mhm.
our standards and
No.
Yeah. It's hard to not think of something in today's terms, when you're reading an old
Yeah.
letter document. We have today's glasses on
yeah.
and yeah,
Well, that's like
and
my
have
mom.
yeah.
She gave me a bunch of old photos when I went to go visit her this past summer. And one of the photos she was showing me, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going to tell you a family." Like it was kind of a hush hush topic. And I said, "Okay." And she showed me this man, and she said, "Well, this man, everyone thought he was just a boarder at my great grandma's, and it was actually her boyfriend." But she said that like all the family knew, but no one could say anything because we didn't want her to look, disrespectful or anything. And it's like, that's totally different than how we would look at things now. And
Mhm.
so I thought that was interesting, that I have these pictures of this man and all the community just thought he was just a boarder. And there's actually more to that story. Like, it was her boyfriend and they loved each other. And, after my great grandma got divorced, she's like, I'm not marrying again. But
Here, I want
Yeah.
to, since you've got sharing turned on, I'm gonna share, here's just one page of that letter of my great grandmother that she wrote to President Grover Cleveland on January the 3rd, 1888, from Atlanta, Indiana, which for those of you not familiar, that's a very, very small little burg in Hamilton County. Like west of Noblesville, near Cicero kind of place, but asking for pension money. The widow of John LaFera, who lived in Brown County, Ohio, and this is some captain named Samalt, which I have tried to research every way I could spell this name, including with a Z, in the War of 1812. And how she's just saying she's a poor widow lady. And, but I mean, you can see this is just like one long, big, crazy.
Where did he live?
Well, I mean, he lived in Brown County,
The
Ohio.
fellow that fought in 1812.
When he fought in 1812, he supposedly lived in, I mean, he did. I know he lived in Ohio. And it was kind of before Brown County was formed. So it was, back then it was just like three big counties. One of them was
Yeah,
called
right,
like
right,
Ross,
right,
and
right.
yeah,
Hamilton.
Is
yeah.
that over in the west side, east side, right?
East, very,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
Mm.
kind of east central on the Ohio River.
Oh, south,
They
okay.
lived in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania and came down the Ohio on flatboats and stopped in the area that's now Brown County, Ohio. But and every history book puts him there at the time and stuff, but I can't prove that he ever, records just don't exist. I can find his brother in the War of 1812 records, not him.
well, I mean,
My
But
and
great great
go ahead.
my great great grandfather fought for a total of 90 days in the War of 1812. He thought that was enough.
Mhm.
yep,
Well, it was the defense
Oh.
of Philadelphia, and I guess it was enough recruits. You didn't
Yeah.
worry about it.
yeah,
But that handwritten letter alone talks
right.
about her, because she was very literate, it seems. And you could tell she's written several times. Her
Mhm.
handwriting wasn't all,
The pension file is like 70 pages. I
wow.
mean,
Oh
this
my
was just
gosh.
basically her last appeal. I mean, there's documents that she worked with attorneys,
Mhm.
Indianapolis attorneys with, to try and get this. And,
Wow.
How much was
she
she going
was
to
20,
get?
right? She never got a dime, but she was
What
20
was she
years.
expecting?
Well, who knows? $20.
Spent
$8
a
and
lot of
Yeah,
time and money.
exactly.
I was
Yeah.
just
It's nothing,
curious.
yeah.
right? But she was 20 years younger than him.
Mm.
She was a second wife, although my ancestress. And so she outlived
Hmm.
him by a good many years.
I
And
had Go ahead.
it's just here again, getting back to, gosh, get those people to digitize those letters because it
Oh.
reveals so much. And what it revealed to me was, you're right, she was literate, not the way we would think of it necessarily, but enough, right?
Mhm.
For a woman who was, born in 1800, and that was her in her, 80s writing
Wow.
that letter. So yeah.
I think I had an ancestor who fought in the War of 1812, and he was over in kind of that southwestern Pennsylvania area,
Mhm,
Marietta, Ohio.
mhm,
And it seems like they were frontiersmen. Like they had a frontier militia out there.
mhm, mhm.
And I don't know if he got a pension or not. I don't, I can't,
Only if
I
they
have,
lived long enough to get them awarded to them. I mean,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Hmm.
think American Revolution. If you were lucky enough to still be alive in what, 1832, you'd get a pension.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if my great great grandfather got a pension or whether he just got the ability to say, because he moved into Central Ohio, they had chopped trees. There was no infrastructure, but he got that land free. I think he got 40 acres
Yes.
or something
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
Hmm.
right,
So I
right.
don't think how is that relative to a pension? Is it two different things? But
Well, the bounty lands, I mean, right? And this is a big thing right now. The society is doing, trying to raise money to preserve those records, all the bounty records. I mean, you're right. It's sort of a pension, isn't it? Getting
Yeah. I
bounty
mean, it's a
land.
benefit of
definitely a
serving.
benefit, yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But he had to
Uh,
sign for the pension. You couldn't just keep doing it.
yeah.
Well, you had to exercise it.
Right, one and
Yeah,
done.
yeah. One of my other 1812 ancestors who also was in Brown County, Ohio. His bounty land was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Never
But
claimed it.
oh, you mean they gave him a tract? He didn't pick a tract?
No, they were like assigned.
Oh, my grandfather,
Mm.
great grandfather picked the tract
Ah,
because he fought in Philadelphia,
uh,
and then they decided that they wanted to move out here. He was a violinist, so he couldn't make any money out here in the middle of nowhere. So he played for county fairs and sing-alongs. And his wife stayed in the tent with the kids, and she used to have to throw hot coals at the wolves to get them away.
Oh
And
my
that's the kind of
gosh.
place they built. That's where they were. So, but he picked that. They didn't pick it for him. At least
well,
that.
they probably sort of they would give them sort of an area, and then you could have
I
some
was wondering
selection
about
of the
that. May be
Yeah.
tracks.
why he ended up there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mm.
it had a lot to do with how much time you served and who you served for, and so I think a lot of them that served in the frontiers land like Ohio, they weren't getting Ohio military land. I mean, like this
No.
ancestor of mine that got land in the UP. I mean, he already lived in Brown County, Ohio. He wasn't, yeah, he was doing okay.
We were looking at maps the other day, and at one point the UP was part of the Indiana Territory.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
That was an eye opener. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ought
Uh,
to see the
and
Virginia territory.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
huge, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
it went all the
Hmm.
way to the Mississippi.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Gail says, if you see your chat, Patai, Patai, and Gluck's Women's Words book is a great resource for teaching us how women and men tend to interview differently as interviewees. And she's a teacher educator accustomed to writing for audiences of classroom teachers or education researchers. Genealogical writing is new to her, and she's got a lot to learn. Thanks for all your help. She's well on her way.
Yeah, and I think reading the society quarterlies is a great way. I mean, that was my inspiration years ago when I first joined IGS and read a quarterly, and I still remember to this day the one that inspired me to decide to write. I can't remember the author's name, but she wrote about her an ancestor in uh, Lafayette who as a child like got left at a train station with just a note tied to his coat.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it was so
Oh,
moving. And that inspired
oh.
me to start writing. So I would encourage you read these stories in the quarterlies of whatever society you
Mhm.
belong to, and they're inspirational.
Was that the Indiana Olympiad or
Yeah, yeah,
Mississippi
yeah,
or
yeah,
was
yeah, for sure. Lafayette, Indiana.
Let's
I
see,
spent a few
John.
years there?
Oh, John Marie, did you have ideas for our next meeting?
Yeah, our next meeting. So today we wanted to find out what all your goals were. And while I pull up the sheet,
Well, along those lines, I'll interject. I have an article that will be in the first quarter of the Tennessee Genealogical Society.
Congratulations.
Well,
yeah.
their focus for 2026 is about the 250th anniversary. And so they've been soliciting articles that connect Tennessee to 250 years of American history. And so I wrote about an ancestor of mine that fought in the American Revolution, who settled in Tennessee on his bounty land
Good
in
for him.
1796, before Tennessee was a state. He settled on that land, and his pension record, again, it's like 100 pages, and it
Oh,
has his personal statements about what he did during the American Revolution.
wow.
That's
And
great.
and then he lived on the Holston River, which, if you're familiar with Tennessee, it's now like Lake Cherokee. The TVA flooded it many,
Mm.
100 years ago or whatever. And but he lived on it when people took it to move from Virginia into Tennessee. So flatboats were going by his property all day long.
Oh
And,
my
Wow.
goodness.
just here again, just amazing when you read someone's own personal account,
Mhm.
But anyway, I wrote up about him, and it'll be in the Q1. So
Neat.
that was one of my goals.
Great.
That was one
Yay.
of my goals.
Congratulations.
Okay, so February 10th is going to be our next meeting. And so the theme is going to be writing about women in history, since Joy's going to be looking for those type of articles. So we're going to turn the spotlight towards women in history, the stories of women who shaped our Hoosier families. We'll talk about maybe stories of finding meaning to their lives as female ancestors. So those records that might be left, and how to write about the everyday choices and risk and traditions that carried our families forward. Together, we'll kind of brainstorm how to honor these women's contributions to Indiana. And so we'll kind of brainstorm some ideas for those that might not have ideas yet. But we want to definitely make sure, no story is too small. I mean, even a housewife is a story. They raised the next generation, they took care of her. So we want to kind of explore that more and how we can turn those into stories. Because I know I've heard people say before, my ancestor was just stayed at home, took care of the kids. There is no story to tell, but there is.
This is
So that'll be February 10th.
February 10th. And I'll send out the Zoom link the day before. And John Marie usually puts it on that Facebook in the Facebook group.
And if you guys start writing your female ancestor stories, maybe pop it into the Facebook group and we could try to read them and have everyone read them and kind of, give some input or whatever.
I need some reading material for the holidays.
Yeah. Do you hear that, Gail?
When everything calms down right before the holidays, I will have time to read. Finally. And maybe
Now,
even write.
now, Kay, are you still in the Newcastle area?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Here again, my favorite great uncle lived in Newcastle back in the day when I was a kid. He had a a flower business. He grew flowers for commercial. And
Oh,
back in the 40s, though, he was a house servant for the Teeters and then later the Shapiros. Do you know that big
uh,
house on Hawthorne?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. They
Yep.
worked in that house. They
Hmm.
lived in a cottage
Oh,
there.
neat.
Yeah. And
Oh my
They're buried at Mound
God. Uh-huh.
Cemetery. But
Yeah.
he had a garden out on South Memorial
Okay.
when I was a
That's-
kid. It's now there's a church on the property now, but yeah, just
Okay.
we have when I was a kid, I loved going to Newcastle to see them and see the flower gardens.
Oh, that's so neat. I think if it's the church I'm thinking about,
It's an
um,
Assembly of Christ church,
okay, so I
and they
think
have a
that,
food pantry there, which they would love. They
yeah.
were Quakers, right?
Oh, that's nice.
Newcastle,
Uh-huh.
they attended
First
the
Friends.
meeting there.
Mhm.
Yep. And
Let's see. There's a church. There's a funeral home right next to the church that I'm thinking of. That's where I did the stocking stuffing
oh,
yesterday
yeah.
out there on South Memorial Drive at State
Yeah.
Road 3. So,
Yep.
so that's neat. I mean, I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know that back when that was new, it's changed so much.
Well, back in the 50s and 60s, they grew gladiolas. They sold
Mm.
to commercial. When I was a kid, we'd run through the gladiolas. I mean, it was just, and he had a hot house where he grew exotics that he sold to the local
Wow.
florists. I mean, it was just one of our favorite things to do as kids.
What was his last name?
Flukawa. He was a Japanese. He was Japanese.
Okay.
He married into our family, obviously.
Oh.
I'm not Japanese. But he immigrated to the
Interesting.
US in 1905. So, he was a long time American, but
Um,
Flukawa. Yeah,
that's
Flukawa's,
so
yeah, Flukawa's flowerteria.
flower tear. Oh, I'll have to go look that up.
Yeah, out on South Memorial. And he worked for the Teeters and then the Shapiros when they took over that big house. Yeah.
I know the Teeter family when where
Yep.
they
Yep.
lived.
The circle.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Perfect circle.
Perfect circle.
And Shapiro's and then Ingersoll's
Yeah,
kind of came in.
he left there when the Shapiros still owned the place. But they basically sold him that land out there on South Memorial, and
Oh, that's
when he set up
awesome.
the gardens and sold all those flowers, he was big in the garden clubs, always the judge.
That's so neat. What a neat story.
Yeah, another great character in the family. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to learn something new about Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah. A very
Actually,
welcoming place to them always. Yeah.
awesome. I live probably maybe half a mile due east of that area.
Yeah.
I'm more by Main Street runs parallel, and
Mhm.
so I'm just off Main. So
Mhm. When you guys started that Once a Hoosier blog,
mhm.
he was one of the first people I put in it years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jen Alford does that,
Yep.
and she's stepping down from the newsletter editor
I saw that.
position,
I saw that.
and but she's still going to do Once a Hoosier, Always a Hoosier.
Where does she live?
So Jen Alford, she lives just over in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but she has Indiana roots.
Of course, Alfred. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Oh. So, does anyone have anything else? It was a great discussion tonight.
Yeah, it was.
Mhm. Yep, I look forward to seeing the next edition of the magazine and hearing from everybody and getting everybody to publish more.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, Joy said she's definitely getting more articles, so that's great.
Oh,
Mhm.
good.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
great. And then Gary will send you the Facebook group link
Okay.
via email. Uh, it's a private group, so it's there's a couple questions you have to answer. I think like what you're focused on in Indiana, so we know that you're not a robot.
Yeah.
I'm
I
pretty
don't know.
sure
It's
you're
getting
That's
hard to
where
tell
AI
nowadays.
comes in. Maybe not a robot, but I think AI could be helpful.
It can be amazing.
Great tool.
Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Yep. Me too.
Absolutely. I
Same
hope
here.
you
It's
guys all
nice to
have
meet
good
you.
holidays.
Yep. Happy
Yes,
holidays to everybody.
everyone.
Yeah, see you in
Well, thanks
February.
again.
Wow.
Yep. See you in the new
Yep.
year.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Great.